Welcome to the Hardcore Closer Podcast. I'm Ryan Stewman, founder of Hardcore Closer. And what the fuck, man? I have to read this every single time. Like you guys out there listening right now, just know, let me voice it. I gotta say the same shit. We live in 2017. Can you not dub this shit over? I know you don't feel good at low energy, Robert, and I know you low energy. So like, you know, by all means, let's don't do this. But I mean, can't we just like splice this little, if I read it one time really good right now, we just splice it in from the future. Isn't that the word, splice? We do that?
Yeah, man, we could do that. We could put something together.
Okay, man, all right, everybody. Everybody put your hands in the air. I'm going to read this for the best time ever, and then we're going to splice that. You heard it here first. We're going to splice this shit so I don't have to fucking say it anymore. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Hardcore Closer Podcast. I'm Ryan Stewman, founder of HardcoreCloser.com, and this podcast is all about helping you, the salesperson, close more sales. And look, whether you're selling cars, homes, financial services, consulting, whatever it is that you sell, this podcast is dedicated to help you generate higher quality leads, increase your closing ratios, and show you how to charge premium fees for the items you sell so you can get paid what you're worth. Welcome to episode 55 of the Hardcore Closer Podcast. I'm glad that you're here. Hey, man, I'm going to pause again. That was a pretty damn good one. You're going to have to definitely splice that one. What do y'all think out there listening? You're like, damn, he was on fire for that one. He got that shit, man. Right. All right. Let me get back serious again, everybody. Welcome to episode 55, the Hardcore Closer Podcast. And look, I'm glad you're here. Listen, if this is your first time, we don't usually talk about the things that we're going to do for future episodes on the current episode, just being kind of funny today. So if it's your first time here, you have at least 54 other episodes that you can go check out as well. And really what you need to do is send a digital high five, a text thank you, a DM, something like that to whoever it is that turned you on to this podcast, right? If it's like one of your fellow salespeople, you need to be like, yo, this shit was fire, man. I appreciate that, man. You're a good ass dude for hooking me up with the closer guy, right? Don't forget, if you've been here before, like if you are no stranger to the shenanigans, then what I need you to do is make sure that you go over to the podcast. I know it's difficult, right? You got to log into the podcast. You got to search the Hardcore Closer Podcast. You got to click on the little picture of me, and then you got to review the podcast inside your iPhone. If you have an iPhone and you listen to this on an iPhone, please, for the love of all things digital, leave me a review, a 5-star nonetheless, a good one, right? A good one. Don't leave some bullshit on there. Leave me a good one. And it's a 5-star review, because here's the thing. My goal is to reach 300 million salespeople worldwide. Before we started this podcast and we went live with the recording, live recording and everything, we were talking about having my book translated into 5 more languages so that we can literally have a multilingual book distributed in different parts of the world, because I really do want to help people that are in sales everywhere. And I believe that most of us are in sales, whether we like it or not. And so being the top podcast on iTunes is very important. You know, this weekend I was watching Digital Marketer, and they were talking about where to get fake reviews and all this stuff. Man, I didn't even know this world existed, right? Everything you see from me is from asking for the business, just like I'm asking for you to do it now. There's no shenanigans. There's no fuckery. If they've reviewed my books on Amazon, it's because they fucking liked it and they took the time. And I'm asking you that if you like this show, obviously, if you've listened to it before and you're back, that's fucking saying something. Like, hook me up, give me a 5-star review so that maybe, just maybe, someone else that was in the same situation you were in when you found this can find it as well. Like right here, we got the Boston Strangler 78. Now, that's fucking cool, right? Like, it's a fucking cool name. It's about time. Robert was giving us some bull. No offense, y'all, but some of y'all got some fucked up names that we had to read for reviews for a while. So this is cool, the Boston Strangler 78. Like, bruh, that shit sounds like a wrestler name or something. I know it's a serial killer, right? But I'm just saying it sounds like a wrestler name, or maybe like a rapper. It's like the Boston Strangler. He's like part of Wu-Tang now. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Boston Strangler here gives us 5 stars, says Hardcore Closer on May 8th of 2016. So a long ass time ago. Where's this been hiding? Anyway, he says, this guy's the truth. Stop yapping and listen. The raw, real truth. Start your day off with a cup of Hardcore Closer, or I'll strangle the shit out of you. I just added that last part. But I appreciate that Boston Strangler with that cool ass name there. So if you haven't left me a review, get your ass over there and leave a review, right? We need people to see this so that we can reach more people, because we got good stuff to talk about today that's going to help you make more money. And if you missed the last episode, episode 54 was the shit. It was my favorite. I know you're not supposed, like an artist isn't supposed to talk about whatever it is that they do. I'm telling you, it's the best episode that we've done. There's been at least 100 people hit me up and say, oh my God, it's changed my life. It's fucking awesome. It should be you. So if you don't listen to any other episode of any other podcast, you got to catch episode 54. All right, so let's jump into episode 55 here. Oh, no. Sometimes these buttons don't work right. All right. Let's talk about 5 buying signals commonly mistaken as objections. Like sometimes when the prospect says something to a salesperson, they think the prospect's giving them objections. And really what happens, like let's just talk about some deep mindset stuff before we just give you the bullets and the details here. Like oftentimes a prospect is giving you something that on the surface seems like an objection. And what happens is the salesperson lets their ego interfere. Right? The best salespeople set their ego aside. They set their emotions aside. They know that it's not about them. The person doesn't know anything about you. You know, they're like the person doesn't. They didn't do their research on you. They don't know what you do with your kids or what you do for fun or what church you go to. They only know the information that you gave them. So whenever it is that they have that they say or that they resist or they give you objections, like you should never take that personally because they don't know you. So how can you take it personal if they don't know you as a person? Okay, so you have to think, remember this, when you change your mind, you change your life. And so things like this, changing your mind can change your life. It can change your life financially because the better you get at dealing with objections and the better you get at dealing with rejection, the better your sales will appear because oftentimes the salesperson gets their delicate ego or their subconscious or their emotions and they get in the way and they're like, well, fuck it, you don't have to buy my shit. I know I'm guilty of it from time to time too. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm perfect. You know what they did to the only person that ever walked this planet that was supposedly perfect, right? They hung his ass on a cross. I ain't trying to go out like that shit. Hell no, right? So here's the thing. When a customer gives you a buying signal, oftentimes the person lets their emotions or their ego get in the way and they take it as an objection. And that is the last thing that it is. So what we're going to talk about today is 5 things because we're going to change your mind and change your life today. So we're going to talk about these 5 things that you're probably mistaking, these 5 common objections that you're probably mistaking as objections, but they're really buying signs. So number 1 is, how much is it? If a prospect asks you, how much is it? That's a lot of interest. Like, dude, this is like one of the strongest buying signals ever. Why would a person want to know how much it is if they weren't thinking about buying it? But oftentimes when people say, how much is it? They're like, oh, you know, like that they take that as like well, you know, we'll talk about that when we sit down. Like car people are notorious for this. It's like, how much is it? Well, I see the sticker. How much is? Oh, we'll have to go sit down and talk about it. And they think that the person's like trying to fender trade with them, but that's a buying signal. That's not an objection. That's not that's not a turn down. That's somebody's like they're interested. If somebody's asking for the price, all of a sudden they're trying to see if the price matches the value. That's what's going on in their head. Right? They ask you for the price. That's a buying sign because they're trying to evaluate whether in their mind the price exceeds the value. Because that's what's up, right? So remember that, okay? Person asks you, how much is it? That's one of the biggest buying signals that you can get. Oftentimes what happens is the salesperson hears how much is it and they start ducking and dodging. Or here's what's worse is when someone says how much is it and the salesperson kind of looks at the ground and speaks the price lowly. That's 50,000, you know. It's kind of expensive. It's on the high side, $50,000. Like you can't sell shit with that attitude. You got to be like, dude, it is a steal at only 50 G's, my man. Like that's what I used to see. People would buy these big ass, like I'm in Texas, right? And when I sold cars for about 6 months, one summer, right? First, I wanted to see what it was like, see if I could do it. I made decent money doing it. Nothing like I make now, but I made decent money doing it. I enjoyed it, but it was not for me, right? In the sense of I didn't want to be glued to one place that I hated, that was boring as fuck, 14 hours a day. I couldn't take it. I did it for about 6 months so that I could get insurance for my then wife was pregnant with Jackson, my oldest son. And so I worked there so I could have insurance so that she could get covered. I never been on welfare in my life. I've never taken government benefits or any of that stuff. So I went to work, even though I put my entrepreneurial career on hold and went to work selling cars. The reason why I tell you that is oftentimes when somebody would say, how much is the car out here? I would look at the sticker price, like, stickers on it's $34,000, man. But shit, this thing's worth way more than that. You drove it, right? Did you feel that? But I would watch other guys and they go, hey, you know, it's 34 grand, but we can talk about that when we get in. I'm sure they'll knock some money off of it. Like, holy, set yourself up for failure, motherfucker. Like, the how much is it wasn't an objection. They weren't like asking how much is it so that they could figure out like that you could just drop your drawers all of a sudden. They're showing curiosity and they're trying to measure in their mind, again, whether the price is going to exceed the value, right? You got that? Or the value exceed the price, vice versa. So number 2, how much room on price do you have? Dude, that's even a bigger one, right? So if someone's asking you, you give them the price. And the second thing that most people think is an objection. They're like, oh man, they're trying to like beat me down on price. Damn it. And it's not. Really, they're just trying to see. They're like, okay, well, I wonder how much wiggle room, like you can't hit if you don't swing, right? They're just asking. You see, because here's what's happened. Their great-great-great-great-great-grandfather taught them to say how much room do you have on the price. And they taught the great-great-great-grandfather taught the great-great-grandfather who taught the great-grandfather who taught the grandfather who taught the son, who's now taught the daughter. How much room do you have on the price? Like, that's what you got to ask them. That's the go-to phrase. The sales guys, they always fall for it. You know, that's what they say about us, right? They're like, that's the magic phrase you got to ask them. Like, seriously, that's what happens, right? Like when someone calls the mortgage company and but first they call their dad and they're like, hey, dad, I'm about to call and apply for a mortgage. Any tips? He's like, ask them for the lowest rate. That's the magic phrase. As soon as it's like kryptonite to mortgage people, right? And the person shows up like, what's your lowest rate? They have no fucking clue what that even fucking means. They don't know how to do the math. They don't know how to fucking add it, subtract it, flip it up, smack it, rub it down. Oh no, they don't know any of that shit, right? But that's what their dad tells them to do. Ask them for the lowest rate. That shit's like kryptonite to fucking mortgage brokers. Right. And so, or with real estate agents, right? They like ask them to reduce their commission. It's like kryptonite. They can't resist it. They have to do it. It's the law, right? Like it's the same thing with cars. Ask them for invoice. They have to do that. It's the law. It's like these people are out of their damn mind. So that's just something that's ingrained in them. The legendary Zig Ziglar one time tells a story about his wife, the redhead. He says, the redhead, I'll do my good Zig impression here. It said, one Christmas Eve, the redhead was in the kitchen cooking a ham, right? So the wife's cooking a ham, chops the ends off of it. You and I both know the ends of the ham are the most delicious part. She turns, he goes there, he goes, why did you chop the ends of the ham off before you put it in the pan? She goes, I don't know, my mom's always done that. And he goes in the next room and he asks the mom, and he's like, why did she chop the ends of the ham off? That's the most delicious part. She's like, I don't know, you know, my grandma taught me to do that. Why don't you go ask her? So he goes in there in the other room and asks the grandma, and the grandma says, well, I don't know why these two dingbats do it, but I never had a pan big enough to fit the whole ham and couldn't afford to buy another one. And so it's weird how that's another thing. Is like people are taught, how much room on price do you have? What's your lowest rate? Oh, I want the invoice price. Like, dude, but they don't know what the fuck that means. That's a buying sign. Step in there and close them, son. Number 3, this costs too much. That's a buying sign too, because they didn't say they didn't want it. Think about this for a second. If they say it costs too much, they did not say they did not want it. When a person says this costs too much, oftentimes the salesperson, their emotions get in the way and they say, oh man, you know, I'm sorry that you don't like it, but this is our price. Thanks for coming by. Cheers to you. Have a good day. And the thing is, that is a super duper heavy buying signal, man. It's heavy, man. It's so heavy. And the thing is, when people say it costs too much, all that's happening is when they did that evaluation that we spoke of earlier, the value did not exceed the price. That's all. They're like, they don't see the value. They're like, that's too much money. $50,000 is too much money for what you're giving me. So you have to do 2 things at this point. You have to figure out what it is that they want that you could add to your presentation, that you could add to your package, whatever it is that you sell, that would display $50,000 or whatever it is in value. So you have to figure out, you have to justify that additional cost that they don't save. Say, when they say it costs too much, you simply say, well, how much would you like to purchase it for? That's the best comeback that you could ever say. When they're like, wow, this costs way too much, you'd be like, awesome. Well, how much would you like to purchase it for? They're going to give you a number at that point. Man, I thought this was going to be like $30,000 and it says 50. Well, I can understand why you would think that it's $30,000 because in the past, that's what they've cost. And here's what the past has consisted of. However, nowadays, in the new age world, we have technology, faster, better, cheaper, awesome things that we have put in here that do these additional value. And you can't get the $30,000 model anymore because it's becoming government regulation that you have the $50,000 model, which will serve you well into the future and you'll be protected way ahead of all of your competitors. Right, you just got to bring the value up on them. I just hypothetically, like, word track closed to nothing for $50,000 there. You guys should like definitely replay that again and memorize that because that was the ultimate political comeback, right? But seriously, when somebody shares that it costs too much, find out what they want to pay for it. Then you've got a ceiling, which is your number. You've got a bottom, which is their number. And it's your job to negotiate the value in between. That's a huge buying signal. And if you do that, you'll make sales every single time, 60% of the time. Simply showing up, right? The fact that someone's there on your lot, on your phone, in your internet, in your back seat with some chicken wire stretched the fuck out, right? Like whatever. They, like wherever they are, the fact that they've shown up, right? When I get a lead to my website, dude, I get excited because I'm like, okay, dude, they've shown up. There's interest. Where there's interest, I can create desire. And when I can create desire and interest, I can build familiarity, which gives me the ability to close. So someone's simply becoming an internet lead. There's some interest there. Your job is to take that interest and build desire, to convert that interest into desire. The desire to purchase your shit, right? Beat 'em up. So by simply showing up, like a lot of people, they think, oh, well, they're fucking tire kickers, or as we say, they're kangaroos, right? My salespeople say, it's a fucking kangaroo. Like, never assume anybody's a kangaroo, because sometimes kangaroos can get credit cards too. And you say, oh, dude, Stewman's one of those guys that'll get somebody a line of credit to take his program. Fuck yeah, if I think that you'll work your ass off and get results, hell yeah, why wouldn't I? I believe that I'm saving souls over here, ladies and gentlemen. When people come into our wheelhouse, the Break Free Academy entourage or the tribe, or if they come to the Break Free Academy live event, like I know what's going to happen. We lure them in with, we can make you a better salesperson and fill your pipeline up with leads. But what happens is, man, we hug you, we love on you, we create a family, a bond, a tie, a trust, a network, a mastermind, a unity, a community, and everything in between together that makes you feel like you belong to something, that helps you, that boosts you up, that lifts you up. And I know that these things change people's lives because I've seen their wives start respecting them, their husbands start looking up to them, their bosses start giving them raises, they start taking over territories, more referral partners coming their way, their kids respecting them and enjoying their free time. I've seen all this shit firsthand. And every time when somebody shows up in one of our funnels, I get to think everything, I get to use everything that I can. And I'm so thankful because I know that I get a chance because they've simply showed up. And if I'll show up too, and I can get them into one of my programs, because I know this, when you invest in yourself, you become the best. And in order to become the best, you must invest. So I know that if I can get someone to display that confidence in the back of their head, that I'm betting on myself, that I will take their hand, hold them through the process, show them how to make more money, and in the process, build them a better overall life. That's what gets me fucking up and excited in the morning. Right? That is nothing that was written under number 4 here. Just by the way, that was like all me, like just like I'm just serious about this shit, man. I'm seeing results right now. I'm on a little side note here, but I've got my man Dwayne, dude. He sends me a message on Instagram, dude. I've had my first $20,000 month ever, dude. Ever. I didn't even think it was possible. That's a fucking life change right there. Then next month, he got all the money this month. What's he gonna do next month when he makes the money again? Dude, and not only that, he turned back around and he invested in himself again. He's coming to the event this week. I got a message from Matt, one of my tribe members, Matt Motil. Like, this dude was like hustling to come up with money to join the tribe. Flash forward 7 months, he's a speaker, a best-selling author. He's told me just the other day that he's pulling in $40,000 in the last 2 weeks from assignments from people in our network. In our network, right? Like my network that is now his because he's a member. Dude, when you change people's lives like that, like, dude, that's something that gets me up in the morning. I don't hear all these other people talking about this shit. They might say, oh, I made an extra $2,500 this month. Man, fuck that. We're in sales. I'm trying to change some fucking lives, right? Because when you change your mind, you change your lives. And I'm out there trying to help people live this life to the fullest because we only get one of these things, right? You might as well make the most of it with your bank account, with your family, with your finances, with everything that you can possibly do. You want to make the most of it. Why would you want to fly second class? Why would you want to sit at the top of the stadium? I sat on the ice the other day for the Stars game, and I sat behind Tony Romo and Mark Cuban at the Mavericks game when Dirk just shot 30,000 points, all because of sales, right? And I love helping other people get the opportunity to live their life to that level as well. Number 5, so simply showing up is a huge buying signal, right? They don't automatically assume anybody's a kangaroo. Number 5, I'm going to shop your competitor before I make a decision. That's really good news because guess what they're doing? They're making a decision and they're buying. If they're going to shopping elsewhere, a lot of salespeople, they take that as an objection. They're like, oh, man, well, you're just going to shop around on me or whatever, right? But you know what they say in the song? My mama told me you better shop around. I cannot sing. So just like one time, my friend Brett Manning, he is a vocal coach out in Nashville. And I met him through Dustin Black. And Brett Manning, cool dude. He listens to the show. You might like to give him a little shout out. But he's like helped all sorts of like serious country stars. and helped him sing, right? And I mean, people you listen to on the radio nowadays, I don't want to name him because I'm not sure who it is, but I mean, it's like he's got like very big accolades as like the go-to guy. He's like the Tony Robbins of voices in Nashville, the land of country and western music, right? And so for those of you up north, that's like Luke Bryan, Jason Aldean, Carrie Underwood. That's country and western down here in the South, right? Country and western, both types of music. But he was trying to tell me he could help me sing. He's like, dude, I could even coach you. And I'm like, man, you would have your hands full. You better stick to them celebrities you got over there. So number 5 here, though, when people say they're going to shop their competitor, that means that they're going to shop around, right? That means that I'm buying this shit. I'm just making sure I'm not getting fucked over or paying too much for it, but I'm buying this shit. If it just so happens that you're the one, then I'm buying it. There's a dude here in Dallas, Texas. His name's Clay Cooley. That is a slick son of a bitch. He looks like Will Ferrell in that political movie that he was in, man. I can't remember the name of the movie. The Candidate, I think is what it is, where Will Ferrell's like this politician running for governor or some shit like that against the dude from The Hangover, Zach Galifianakis or whatever. It's a hilarious movie if you've never seen it. But Clay Cooley, you know, he got the blow-dried back hair. He got his little skinny and tall, holds his hand like perfectly well-spoken. You know, got rings on, big-ass gold rings on both of his hands and big-ass gold watch. He's richer than shit, man. He's fucking just balling, Clay Cooley is. But his little sign is, he's like, come to Clay Cooley. Shop me first, shop me last. Either way, come see Clay, right? Like, and you think about that, he knows. He knows it doesn't matter if you're looking for him first or you're going to look for him last. He knows if you're looking to make a decision, he just wants to get a chance for you to make a decision with him. Shop me first, shop me last. Either way, come see Clay. Right? It's a good catchy enough jingle to where I remember. Of course, I've been seeing it on the TV for the last 10 years or whatever. And on the internet and everything else. They got quite a few dealerships around here, but they know that I'm shopping your competitors is normal. If you're buying a mortgage or homes are different, but if you like taking out a mortgage or insurance or a car or something of that manner where it's like not a commodity, but more than one person sells it, financial investments, whatever the case may be, then, you know, it makes sense that people want to shop the competitor. They want to make sure that they're not overpaying for things. But here's the thing. That means that they're looking for, I have people, that means they're looking for whatever it is that you sell. I have people all the time. They would come through at texaslending.com when I worked there, and they would say, okay, well, I'm going to shop around. And then they would shop around, and my fees would be higher still, and my rate might be higher still than some of the places they shopped around, but they would still do business with me. Why? Because what's $15 a month between professionals? That's why. What's $25 a month between professionals? You're not even going to live in that home for 30 years anyway. I'll make sure that you're not sleeping in a U-Haul. I'll make sure your contract closes on time. I'll make this as painless as possible, as easy and tranquil as possible. I'll even have the moving company arranged where all you got to do is step into the new house. Just sign here. It wasn't about fees. It never is about fees. And oftentimes when they say they're going to shop your competitor, that's for them, not you. And that's not necessarily the lowest. They're not looking for the person with the, cheap is you get what you get, right? Bank of America at the time was a lot cheaper than TexasLending.com. It's 90 days to close your loan, and you're number 114344. It's like being an inmate in that motherfucker. They don't know you as Ryan Stewman. They just know you as some number that's in their thing. So just think about that. When someone says that they're going to shop your competitor, the good news is they're making a fucking decision and they're buying. Right? The good news is that person's a certified buyer, to the point to where they're trying to make sure that the money don't burn a hole in their pocket, which is what it does for most people. So let's do a quick recap. 5 buying signals most commonly mistaken for objections. How much is it is number 1. They ask you how much is it. They are interested. Then that is when they start measuring the price value equation. Number 2, how much room do you have on price? That is a buying signal that, like I said, it's something that's been ingrained generation after generation after generation. Just expect that to come out and don't let it damage your ego or get in your emotions, and just handle it. Number 3, this costs too much. Ask them what they like to pay for it and then bump them, right? Number 4, simply showing up. The fact that they're on your lot, in your phone, in your internet, in your backseat, some chicken wire spread, whatever the hell that they are, the fact that they're there means that they've got interest. It's your job as a salesperson to convert that interest into desire. Number 5, I'm going to shop your competitor. That's one of the best objections you could possibly get, because you know they're buying. Hey, be sure you head over to elevatortothetop.com and grab your free copy of my best-selling sales book, Elevator to the Top. Again, elevatortothetop.com. You can get my app by texting the word closer to 44222. And we got a badass webinar coming up at hcwebinar.com. Make sure you share this. Leave me a goddamn review. And thanks for listening. Y'all have a great rest of the week.